Welcome to First Motors in Dubai. This is the world's most extreme car dealership with over $100 million worth of cars in here. Now in this video I'm going to show you around. I'm also going to pick 5 of my favourite cars that I'll be adding to my dream garage. Let's do this. Buy, sell,
Car Wow.
I'd like to introduce you to Ali. So Ali is the CEO of First Motors. Now Ali, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to sell some of these cars to me and then I'll pick 5 of them. And you're going to tell me what you think of each of the cars, which you think I should buy. We'll find out how much they're worth and we'll tot up the total, how much I spend on my 5 cars.
Sure. So you're window shopping?
Yeah, no, I'm actually shopping. I've got lots and lots of money, you know.
Okay.
Anyway, so I want to start with hypercars.
Sure.
Let's go in straight for the kill for something really exciting, and obviously with these Bugattis here. So I'm drawn to this. It's the Super Sport 300 Plus.
Yes.
So it's the famous record-breaking car, right?
It is. Total 30 of these cars were made, and it is, in my opinion, one of the most iconic cars from Bugatti, from the Chiron series. What makes this specific car special is that it's the last one produced.
So it's number 30 of 30, the very last one.
Yes.
Awesome paint scheme as well, like the orange and black just looks so good. And the design of it with the longer tail end, you know, for the improved aero, for the high-speed run. So this leaps out at me. I've driven a Super Sport. It's the fastest I've ever driven a car on the road. 212 miles an hour. What's the fastest you've driven?
200 miles an hour.
Yay!
You've
12
gone
miles an hour.
faster. You've gone
Okay,
faster.
right. I would be drawn to this, but you have not 1, but 2 Devos. And
Yes.
didn't you not so long ago have something like 4?
Yeah, we actually had another Devo in stock in the showroom here. We sold one, and we've actually sold another one outside the country. So that's 4 Devos in total, 40 produced overall, and that will be 10% of total production that have been passed through First Motors.
That's a little bit greedy.
Well, we actually always try to push ourselves to test the limits to see how far we can go.
I like this kind of satin effect. That's really cool. Should I go for a Devo or the Super Sport? And then over there we have a Sport.
That's a Legend du Ciel. It's a Chiron Sport. It's a commemoration to the fighter pilots, actually. Total 20 were supposed to be made initially. The exact figures are not known. 8 to 12 were made in total.
So this is the rarest car then out of these Bugattis.
Yes, it is the most difficult one to find. I do have an order for an additional one, but I can't seem to find one.
So I've picked this out of the Bugattis, but it might not be the hypercar I go for. We'll choose some others later. Is this the right choice?
Well, what you're looking at is around $6 million.
How much is that one?
That one would be around $5 million.
Okay, so I've picked good so far. How about the Devos?
$10 million.
I've picked badly then. Should I have gone for a Devo rather than this? Over long term, which do you think is going to be worth the most?
Overall, my favorite one is this Super Sport. The reason is that this one actually has 100 more horsepower. It's 1,600 horsepower, where the Devo and the Chiron Sport or the Chiron, all of them are 1,500 horsepower.
And 1,500 horsepower is clearly not enough, is it really?
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the Bugattis.
Yeah.
But maybe I want my hypercar to be a little bit more red. So Ali, we have a bunch of LaFerraris.
Yes.
I understand you're a bit of a Ferrari fan.
I am.
What is it you like about Ferraris?
Well, for the resale value and for the collector value, they actually do really well. And Ferraris helped us a lot as a showroom. With the LaFerraris, most of the collectors, they're Ferrari collectors. It's also very difficult to acquire a Ferrari from the dealership. That's why the resale value is actually quite high.
So it's a safe bet for an investment.
It is
Good
a
car
safe
to drive. I've driven a LaFerrari.
It is.
But also keeps your money safe.
Yeah, if you actually think about the car, it's a 2013 car, around 950 horsepower. It's also a hybrid. So people telling you that hybrid cars don't do well as a collector value, it's not true at all. Looking at this car today, even at 2023, 10 years later, the car is quite modern for what it is. One thing you should be careful about with Ferrari is actually the battery conditions of the car. Most of the cars we bring in, they're 0 kilometers and the batteries have been replaced. The drivers would be able to enjoy the maximum performance of the car. The hybrid battery costs around $300,000, and the problem is that Ferrari find it quite challenging on finding the replacement batteries. You'd have to wait around 1 year now. So that's why when we have the car here and somebody wants the car, they have to come here.
So with these cars then, you say 0 kilometers.
Yeah.
They're as new.
Yes, they are.
But the problem with that is, obviously, you don't want to put miles on them, kilometres, because it will reduce the value. But then if you don't do that, then the battery goes off, and then you have to replace that, and that's $300,000 if you can get it replaced in the first place.
The batteries go off in the first place because the drivers aren't using the cars. They're not driving them, or they're not.
They're not drivers, they're collectors, aren't
They're
you?
collectors, yes. And you are right, it is actually quite challenging. If you take care of the cars, as we do over here, you'll have no problem in that aspect at all. But Ferrari are also providing a warranty extension on the cars, which is 25,000 euros if the battery is in good condition. So all of the cars that we acquired, they do come with warranty extension from Ferrari for 2 years. So you have nothing to worry about, and you can drive the car.
I want to drive it, right? It's in my dream garage. I want to drive it.
Yeah.
Will driving the Ferrari and putting miles on it, I'm not going to do loads, maybe 1,000 kilometers a year.
Yeah.
Will that really cost me in terms of value?
Well, the less you drive, the more valuable it will be.
But the less fun I have, Ali,
the less fun you have, and at the same time, you will be making money. We see this car actually going up in value. I see another 30-40% in the next year or two. Why?
Ooh, so good investment. Is this a better investment, do you think, than the Bugatti?
At the moment, I see this as a better investment in the long run. Why? Because the LaFerrari replacement will come out most likely this year, if not this year, the next year. And once that comes out, one of the requirements to acquire the new LaFerrari replacement is to have a LaFerrari. So everyone will come and buy these cars.
Okay, right. So speculate on this, because the new one's coming out, then you can sell it to someone who needs to own a LaFerrari to get the next one.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
that's the selling point. I mean, that's how I push it.
Okay, so how much for one of these, and which is more expensive, the convertible or the coupe?
Of course, the convertible. I mean, it all comes down to numbers. 210 convertibles made,
Right.
500 coupes made.
I think I'd rather have the convertible, just if I'm driving it, you can hear the noise a bit more from the V12 engine and the experience of having the sun on me as well.
Exactly.
If I drive it in Dubai.
The price on the Aperta is $6 million for a 0 kilometer good condition one at the moment. And for the coupe, it would be roughly 3.5 million.
I'm taking the coupe. Right, so Bugatti or that. Let's check out some other hypercars, but before we do that, can we cold start one of them?
Sure you can.
Come on then, let's start up this LaFerrari. Oh yeah, that sounds nice. $6 million nice. Okay, Ali, we've looked at something French, something Italian. Maybe I should be a little bit more patriotic and have a British hypercar like this McLaren P1 here. So what's the value of this?
$1.5 million for the McLaren P1. It's in the same league of the LaFerrari, the 918, and the McLaren P1. We're all introduced at the same time to compete with each other.
The Holy Trinity.
Exactly. And on a straight line, the McLaren P1 is actually the fastest car.
Unless you're talking about the value graph.
Yeah, exactly. McLaren didn't do so well. I mean, not as much as Ferrari, but there still is a lot of potential for this car to grow. There have been a lot of accidents in the car. For us, that's a good thing, because less numbers and the value goes up at the same time.
I can see that this one is sold, but what would happen if I thought, you know what, I'll offer you 2 million?
Of course, if I see that as a reasonable offer, I would take that offer to the actual owner of the car and see what he has to say.
So basically what you could find is someone buys this car, it stays in the showroom, it's sold, someone else comes in, they want it, and the person who bought it has instantly made $500,000.
Of course, yeah.
Well, less your commission, of course.
Yeah, of course. We take that into account as well, and that happens often.
Okay, so I don't actually want to gazump somebody with their car, so maybe I need to look at another McLaren P1, maybe one that's even more exclusive.
You'd have to go for the P1 GTR, which is parked over there.
Just so happens there's one there. So here we are then, P1 GTR, a lot rarer than the normal P1.
Yeah.
How many of these were built?
40 were made in total. The conversion's been done by Lazante.
What do you mean conversion?
Conversion to make it road legal.
Yeah, because this is like a track-only car, right?
It is a track-only car. Lazante have done a fantastic job in this. And what makes this car more special, actually, is the details in it. So this actually has red carbon.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Would you like to
so good.
have a look inside?
I would definitely like to have a look inside, but I may be tempted to start it.
Of course.
This is a proper race car in here. This steering wheel's different, isn't it, than the normal P1?
This one has more buttons on it, more complicated. It's actually like a challenge car.
Can you get another steering wheel? Wasn't the one like
There's
Formula 1
a
style?
rectangular one that also comes with the car. That's more for track purposes only. This is for the city.
The city. Okay, so what's it like to drive? I mean, you must have driven this.
Yeah.
Is it easy
No,
or very hard?
Actually, it's very challenging to drive in the street, especially if you want to do a U-turn.
So I really love this car, and it's super rare. It's British, but I do probably want to be able to drive my hypercar occasionally, and maybe this will put me off. Tell me the price though first.
$3 million.
And do you think this is a car that's going to appreciate?
Definitely. I think after the McLaren F1, the most iconic car made by McLaren, and one of the best designs ever made by McLaren.
Yeah, it is insane. Do you know what? I'm going to start it. And it feels like a race car.
Hasn't been turned on in a while, yeah.
I think the Bugattis are really special. Whoa! But I want my hypercar to just have an insane feeling to it, to be an absolutely incredible sense of occasion. And in some ways, the Bugatti is a little bit too easy, and so is a LaFerrari. So I'm slightly erring on this, but there is one other hypercar which we're going to check out, which I really like, but it's a bit left field. Do you know what, Ali? The car that looks most hyper to me is actually a Ford. The Ford GT is just insane looking, especially in this particular black.
Yeah, actually, the aerodynamic design of this car is very beautiful. If you see it, it's like a V shape, but at the same time, it is challenging to sit in. A lot of the people that love the car are actually big and oversized.
And they can't fit.
I tried squeezing one of them in, it didn't work.
Is
Just
that
to do a sale.
embarrassing? Did you lose that sale?
Yeah, I did. He wouldn't fit inside the car.
Let's have a look at it. Can I open it? Oh. Cool door. Whoa, never sat in one of these. And it smells like a Ford. And the seats feel quite Fordy, don't they?
I mean, they didn't spend a lot of money inside, but it is just perfect.
Well, our line is quite high. Like the roof comes down low. Let's have a look at the start. Wait, oh, it's going to start it. This is the key for it.
That's the key.
How much is this car?
$1.3 million.
So it's definitely a hypercar because of the performance, and it's worth over $1 million. But that key does not say I own a car that's worth $1 million. It says I've got a car that's probably about 30,000.
The good thing about this car is not many people know the value of this car, or they don't know what it is. So you actually get more than what you pay for.
Can we start this one?
Yes.
So let's give it a go. And can't you do something with the suspension as well?
The best thing in the car is the suspension lift. It's quite instant, and if you push that button, you will know.
Oh yeah? And then to drop it down again. Oh, it's very quick. So you don't have to slow down. You can just be driving along and then just boing.
Yeah. The fastest in any car.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them do it like that, because normally the nose lift is like tick, tick, tick,
It takes time, yeah.
Okay, 1.3 million for this.
Perfect to drive, quite smooth.
And looks the business. There's something missing though. We haven't seen any Lamborghinis. Okay, so we've got a Lamborghini Countach, which basically underneath the skin, it's an Aventador, isn't it?
It is 112 of these made. This was an inspiration to the Countach, so that's where the collector value lies in. When it comes to design and looks, nothing beats Lamborghini. But performance, again, I don't know whether I should say this or not, but
you're going to say it.
It's not a Ferrari,
Yeah.
But again, the collector value is there, and very beautiful car.
So how much is this Countach?
$3 million.
Okay, and it is just a reskinned Aventador. What's it like selling these compared to the Ferraris? Is it harder or easier?
Ferraris are always easier to sell, but you should not underestimate the growing market in Asia. Chinese are the new buyers, and Lamborghini has a lot of fans in China and in Asia. So it's only a matter of time when the doors open up and these cars will go flying through the roof.
I quite like the look of this personally, but I think if I'm having a Lamborghini hypercar, this is more appealing.
Yeah,
This is
the
a
Veneno is the most iconic car in my opinion. A total of 9 Veneno Roadsters were made, and only one full carbon Veneno Roadster was made, and this is the only one in the world.
This is the only one of these in the world.
Yes, it is the most expensive car to be sold here, $11 million. But definitely, I would say when it comes to looks, the most beautiful car.
So how many kilometers has this particular version done?
This is still zero.
Very early Aventador underneath, V12,
Yes.
6.5 litre.
Around 750 horsepower for this car. Performance really doesn't match the looks of the car.
It's actually the real life Batmobile, isn't it? The back end of it is just insane. Do you know what? You buy this car like it's art, don't you?
It is.
So you have this as your hypercar, you don't necessarily drive it, you just come out and look at it and just take in like the shapes. It's just,
Well, it's actually
look at the back end of it.
interesting that you touched upon this. Most of these cars are also works of art. You can park them in your living room and at the same time enjoy the collector value in these cars.
Do you know, when I was a kid, I used to have this like plastic Batmobile. It was about this big. I used to sit on it and push myself along, and it was sort of this shape, and it had the red bits on it as well. So I'm very tempted by this in my dream world. But we've also got a Sian here, haven't we? Which is once again based on the Aventador, but it's got the hybrid tech in it, hasn't it?
Of till today, the most powerful Lamborghini made, around 800 horsepower. What's interesting about the Sian is that each of them were individually colored, so you will never find two the same color.
So this is unique, this car.
Of course.
This one, how much?
$3.5 million.
So not actually that much different to the Countach.
But these are different cars. That's an inspiration to the Countach, and this is a new series.
Which do you think is going to be the easiest for you to sell?
Well, this is already sold.
So that one, right, so done. This is definitely easier to sell, it's gone. Okay, so that's the hypercars. So now I've got to pick which hypercar I'm going to have. The Bugatti Chiron's a little bit obvious. I do like it, and you can daily drive it. I'm drawn to that McLaren just because it's British and it's like such an experience sitting in it. But you know what? I'm going to have this.
Well, you can give me your offer, and
So it's 9 million, plus I've got to be able to get it from the person who's bought it. They're going to
11 million.
It's 11 million, okay.
11
So it's going to be at least 12 million, isn't it, for me to buy this?
At
Okay. It's all right, it's a dream garage. 12 million it is. Now let's find something a little bit more sensible. Okay, SUVs then. We've got a Range Rover. It's an SV, right?
Yeah, this is an SV.
Very nice. Let's move along, see what else we got. We got another
First
Range
edition.
Rover. Is this worth slightly less than the
It is.
than the SV, obviously? And talking slightly less, you know, Range Rover is supposed to be like a luxury vehicle, but when you put it next to a Cullinan, it doesn't feel quite so luxurious, does it, the Range Rover?
Yeah, this one's a Mansouri.
Exposed carbon on the bonnet,
Yeah, these are quite popular over here. Mansouri's and Novitex, and carbon parts on the car, exhaust tuning, wheels are different.
What do Rolls-Royce think of it?
Well, of course, Rolls-Royce don't like it.
Yeah.
Any car dealer doesn't like you playing with their cars, but there is a high demand for it. Some people like to stand out and be unique, and this is just one example.
So what's the price of this?
$750,000.
The Range Rover SV?
$350,000.
Okay, so half
Yeah,
that.
but at the same time, you're driving a Rolls-Royce.
No, I think that's worth it. I think that's
Exactly.
worth double that easily.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. But let's move on. I'm not really a Mansouri kind of guy
Yeah.
for, you know, a Rolls-Royce. This is a little bit more,
This is a Novitec.
yeah, so that's a bit more me. Similar price?
This one is $600,000.
I like the sound of that. But let's keep on moving. You've got another Cullinan there. Oh, wait a minute. I've just noticed the rear wheel arch on this Rolls-Royce. Okay, no, I'd probably keep it, this one's standard, right?
It is. It's a black badge.
How much is this?
$650,000.
Right, yeah, I'll probably go for that over the modified ones, but this looks cool.
Yeah.
Love the green on this G.
This is the new G-Class. What's different in this is actually the Maybach wheels.
Yeah, love those
So
wheels.
these wheels actually weren't quite popular in Dubai. Nobody wanted them. You know, we saw an opportunity in this, so we just decided to bring mostly Maybach wheels over here to be different than other dealers. And actually, they're quite popular now.
So you started a trend?
We started a trend over
Okay, so how much for this one?
$320,000.
Okay, I'd definitely rather have that over the Range Rover. See, this is quite luxurious, but I'm not keen on the look of it, especially the plastic bits down there.
Well, at
on
the
this
end of
Maybach.
the day, it's a Maybach, and for a 4x4 luxury-driven car, one of the best cars to drive. You can have a family drive this.
You're selling, Ali. Would you have this or a G-Wagon?
I would take a G.
There we go, that's all we need to know. Let's move on to the other Gs. So Brabus, I do like Brabus. I think they do a good job of like upgrading the cars, and they just look more aggressive, but not in like a kind of crazy over-the-top Mansouri sort of way. What do you think? How do the Brabus do over here compared to just the standard
Brabus
AMG?
actually do really well over here. People like to be seen, people like to be different. The car is unique. G-Class over here is like a taxi.
I know,
in
I've seen
Dubai.
so many.
Everyone has one. And of course, you want to maybe stand out a bit, you would go for a Brabus.
And what's the price of this?
$350,000.
It's all right, isn't it?
Yes.
Right, let's just get to the very end here because you've got a couple more. That's a standard AMG and that's a Mansouri. Personally, I prefer the upgrades that Brabus do over the Mansouri. It's like Mansouri looked at Brabus and goes, okay, they're doing that. We need to go one more.
Yeah.
You know, slightly bigger bonnet scoop, slightly more extreme wheels. Okay, right, anyway, daily driver SUV. I'm gonna go for that green G-Wagon.
$320,000.
Let's add that to the total. Now I'm going to pick a supercar for my dream garage. So, Ali, I want something that's fun, exciting, that I can drive, you know, for a blast at the weekend. What do you reckon to these TDFs?
Well, these are collector cars. For their time, they performed really well. 799 of these made, and the prices are just going up. You would have to look at something between $800 to $1.5 million.
Okay, so I might be put off a little bit by giving it a good thrashing on a very narrow British road. So probably a little bit too worrying for me to drive quickly, but what about something like this?
Definitely fun to drive. 1,000 horsepower. So there are 3 motors in the car. The only setback with it is the multimedia system.
Yeah, it's
it's quite challenging to use.
Yeah.
But apart from that, amazing car.
I do like the SF90 and it is really, really quick, but I think it's a little bit too digital maybe for that full involvement. So you've got quite a few of them actually.
Yeah, we did really well on these.
So how much are you selling these for?
Roughly $700,000.
What about this? This is a bit more fun, a bit more like analogy.
Well, this is the Ferrari Pista. Really fun to drive. It's more like a go-kart, the experience. This one is used. This one we're selling at $600,000. Depending on the spec, you would look up to $800,000 for this car.
Once again, that's getting a little bit too expensive for me to just thrash it around. Maybe I need something a little bit more normal than a Ferrari. How about a Mercedes? So we've got the AMG GT Black Series in orange, and we've got the AMG GT Black Series in orange.
Well, this is the launch color of the car. Usually for such cars, the launch color is quite popular. Mercedes did produce a lot of these in this color, unlike the SLS Black Series, which was, the launch color was a solar beam, quite rare, but they went all out on the AMG GT.
Haven't you got some other AMG GT Black Series, and haven't you got a solar beam yellow one somewhere else in the building?
Yes, we do. We have a solar beam AMG GT Black Series, which is one of three. So only three were made in that color. One of them is right here in the basement. Another one we have recently acquired. And the third one, we don't know where it is. So
you've got two or three?
Of course.
Okay, so this car in the launch colour, how much?
$500,000.
For the solar beam yellow?
$750,000.
Wow, $250,000 extra because of that paint.
Just because of the color.
Wow. Okay, let's move down to this. We have an SLR McLaren by Mansouri, is it?
Yes.
Do you know what? I'm not the biggest fan of Mansouri, but I do like this. All this exposed carbon is nuts. Though I want a car that's fun to drive, and I've driven these. They're impressive. The gearbox and stuff on them is just, it's awful. It's
not
like a
quite
5-speed.
reliable, but you know, the collector value will be there. Do not forget that the SLR is one of the few cars that McLaren and Mercedes did a collaboration in. This one is currently listed at $600,000.
Okay, right, no. It's not for me. I actually really like this. It's an SL Black Series, isn't it?
Yeah, this is one of my favorites. It's the most powerful SL Black Series, made and tuned by Brabus.
So it's really rare.
It's a one-off, rare, 800 horsepower, very powerful.
How much is this?
$600,000. It's a Stealth.
I like the way you've got all these numbers exactly in your head. You know every single value of every single car in here, right?
Yeah, I come here every day. I mean, this is all I do. So and the prices.
Do you ever get it wrong?
It's quite rare, but it does happen.
Have you ever sold something under value because you got the price wrong? And you've been like, oh my God.
Maybe in one or two cases that has happened, but a word is a word, and if we do that deal, the sale still goes through.
I don't think these are quite pure enough drivers' cars, and I think the Black Series might just be a little bit too extreme for the road. So let's find another collection of supercars. So we have some Lamborghinis. You know, these are more for show, I think, than outright driving, unless you're talking about the STO. I really find the STO good fun to drive. What's the price of this one?
$400,000 for this one. STO is the best performing car of Lamborghini. Definitely great to take it on the track, but again, if you want presence, you go for an SVJ.
So in terms of sales, this is going to be harder to sell than an SVJ.
Yeah, these aren't quite there yet. I mean, the feedback and the reviews not so great on the STO, but SVJ is flying through the roof.
So, got another Hurricane here. Moving down to an Aventador SV. And then do you know what? I prefer the look of the Murcielago than the Aventador, don't you?
Yeah, this
so
is a Murcielago SV. Only 5 of these were made without the wing, and 3 of them were made in black. Definitely there's a collector value on this. Total of, I think, 350 Murcielago SVs built. This one is $600,000.
Thing is though, I'm looking for a driver's car. This is not really what I'd class as a driver's car. Let's find something else. Now this is what I'm talking about, Ali. Porsche 911 GT2 RS Club Sport. Amazing driver's car that you can't, unfortunately, drive on the road, so I can't have it, although I really want it.
Yeah, total 200 of these made. They're actually going up in value quite a bit, 40% up since the last year. Definitely an amazing car to drive on the track, but again, you do need a team for this car. And I would say it is a rich man's toy.
You can't have that. And this, it's good for cruising around in, and it's fast, it is fun, but it's just not quite on it enough, I don't think.
You know, for Europe, it's the best car to drive. It's discreet, performance is there, reliability is there. That's a great thing about Porsche. You can rely on it. Flat 6, so you don't have to spend as much on petrol.
I don't care about petrol prices in my dream garage, but that's not quite hardcore enough, but now this is.
If you want hardcore and danger and some excitement, I would advise you to go for a 765. Definitely so much power in this car, more than what the shell is built for. These are with the comfort seats, those are with the race seats.
I go racing seats, and I like this colour as well, although red is pretty cool in red, but I think I'd rather have it in this grey here. I've actually driven this car, and it is mental. I drove at Silverstone, completely crazy, absolute handful, but whoa, what an experience. Maybe too quick for the road, but I can always dial it back a bit, and maybe I should go in black. What do you reckon? Which do you think is the best colour for resale?
Me, I just love black, and this is actually a special black. It's not black, it's black with gold dust on it. So if you look at it from up close,
oh yeah,
very beautiful spec.
So what's the price of this?
$550,000.
You just thought about that. How much shall I charge you for this?
Well,
okay.
I know $300,000 is 1.1 million dirhams.
Okay,
so I always have
okay,
that.
you're doing the maths in your head.
Yeah.
Right, and I am going to take as my supercar this black with gold fleck McLaren 765 LT.
Excellent choice.
We're now in the basement of First Motors, and there's even more cars here and some classic cars. So as part of my dream garage, I think I need something that's very collectible, you know, an older car that's really going to appreciate in value. And what I'd like you to do is just tell me the value of these cars and give them a rating from okay, good, and excellent for their ability to make me money. And so let's start with this Lamborghini.
I would put this as good. It's a GT400. At the end of the day, again, it is a Lamborghini. Definitely one of the best classic Lamborghinis made. This one's at $600,000. So when you talk about making money, where I bought this car 6 months ago, it was for around $400,000, and the value is going up. So just shows you.
A collectible car that will go up in value, you buy it as an asset, it doesn't have to be that old. I guess the McLaren Senna is a good example of that.
Yeah, 500 of these cars made in total, renamed actually after Senna, the famous Formula 1 driver. Red carbon, full exposed carbon body, and 500 of these made in total.
In terms of value, like the ability for it to appreciate in value, what is it, okay, good or excellent?
Well, for such a car, you'd have to pay 1.5 million euros at the moment. Will go up in value at the same time because full carbon body, quite rare to find.
Okay, let's find something else that's quite rare. All the cars you've got here have some collector value, and we've already seen some AMG GT Black Series, but this one in particular has an ability to go up in value more than the others.
This one is only allocated to you if you have an AMG 1 allocation. 275 of these made in total. What's special about the car is only the paint job. And these stars by Mercedes, these are all hand painted. So highly recommend when you get this car to get a PPF. And very beautiful.
It does look really good, this paint scheme, but the value. So how much is this worth?
$700,000.
And in terms of the ability for it to increase in value, what do you rate it as?
I would give it a good.
So everything so far is good.
Yes. The reason for this is collector value is not only in the car, it's also at the paint job. This is already quite up in comparison to the AMG one. It's roughly 50% more expensive at the moment. And again, it is a Black Series, but you would have to wait some time. Instant returns in collector value, you'd have to wait quite a bit on this car. Still at the...
Okay, so we've had some goods. I want some with collector value that you rate as excellent. So we've got another car that's made more collectible because of its paint, but this is even more so than the AMG Black Series because this TDF, the colour is one of one, isn't it?
It is. And what's special about this car is not only the color, it's also the kilometers and the condition it's been kept in. Most of these cars, whether it's the TDF, the Speciale, or the 599 GT, these are Jubilee cars of Ferrari. So basically, having these cars in your profile will entitle you to other cars. Definitely a collector car to have. 799 of these made.
Okay, so the price of this?
1.6 million.
1.6 million, but the collector value, it's excellent because of the colour.
Still, it's a V12, it's a naturally aspirated engine, and it has a lot of potential, a lot of room to grow.
It's still quite a lot of money to buy in the first place, even though you will make a huge sum on it. Is there something maybe a little bit more affordable?
Yes, there is.
So this is a little bit more me, Ali. We've got a Mark IV Supra and we've got an R34 Nissan GTR. In terms of investment, one of these is excellent, one of them's good. Which is the excellent?
Well, this is an M-Spec Neo. What's special about this car is everyone is waiting for the US markets to open up in 2024 when these cars are actually legalized. You have a lot of collectors, speculators stocking up on these cars and refurbishing them. And what's beautiful about this car is actually the driving experience. Even though it's not so fast, you feel it's fast. And the prices, I would say, in the last year, they have doubled. So from $300,000 to $600,000. Not only Italian and German cars have the collector value, also the Japanese cars. And if you don't have a big budget, you can buy these cars from anywhere between $150,000 up to millions.
What's interesting is that this Nissan is actually a better investment. It's more likely to make you money than this first generation Ferrari Testarossa here, which, fun fact, you can tell it's a first generation car because it's got the mirror on the A-pillar rather than on the door like later cars. Now this is feeling like a proper old school collector car, this 300 SR Roadster.
What's special about this car is
everything.
Is the history associated with this car. I'm sure you know that the most expensive car sold currently at auction is the 300 SLR, which got sold for over $140 million. Now what happened after that auction is that all the cars in the 300 SL series, all of them went up in value. I would say a 20% increase in prices of the cars. Now this one is valued at currently 1.7 million euros. Definitely good collector value on this. A lot of history associated with it and a lot of room for it to grow potentially.
You said good investor value, but I need it to be excellent. Is this excellent?
Depending on how long you want to hold it, but I would say yes, it is excellent. Why? Because we're moving from combustion into electric, and these things will be a thing of the past.
Okay, I quite like the idea of this, but there's another Mercedes we could potentially have, which is a Roadster yet again, which I think could be a good collector, but you'll have to tell me if I've got it right or not.
Okay, let's go have a look at it.
So Ali, here we have a Mercedes McLaren SLR Sterling Moss, and I think these cars are a really good opportunity for going up in value by quite some margin. They're not cheap to begin with. This one's like $4 million right now.
Yeah.
The thing about this though is it's one of the first cars in the modern era to be windscreenless. McLaren copied them with the Elva, you've got the Ferrari Monza after this,
Yes.
and there's only 75 of these built. It's an insane car, and there's the link to Sterling Moss as well, which as far as I'm concerned as a Briton is one of the very best racing drivers ever, even though he never won the World Championship. And I think the investment value on this car is excellent, and therefore you should buy it. I do a good job. Can I join your team now?
Maybe.
When we're talking about investments, a Ferrari F50's got to be a no-brainer, right? It's got to be an excellent.
Definitely one of the best cars from my childhood. You know, I had a poster of this car on my wall, and I definitely wanted to bring it here. What's special about this F50 is 349 of these were made in total. This is one of the Jubilee cars from Ferrari to commemorate the 50th anniversary. Prices are going up really high. When we bought this car, it was the most expensive car ever sold in an auction for around 3.5 million euros, but today you're looking at 6 million euros for this car.
So you guys have made 2.5 million on this car?
Well, not us, we sold the car, and the new owner, he made the most money.
There's a common theme here. It's the people who buy cars through you end up making the money. Okay, excellent investment value, even though it's worth 6 million, it's going to go higher.
Yes, it definitely will. Excellent investment choice, this car.
So excellent investment choice, but do you know what I'd like? Something with a very excellent investment rating.
Okay, let's go have a look.
Ali, you have my favourite Ferrari ever here, and I think this is the car to have as my collectible car in my dream garage, 288 GTO.
Yeah, definitely you found the most challenging Ferrari to find. It's the
It was
of the
easy
big
to
five.
find, it was just here in the corner.
Not for me. Yeah, it took me over a year to find this car in this condition. It's only 8,000 kilometers, 272 288 GTOs made in total, 1985 car. From the 272 actually, only 22 were made with the electric mirrors and with the AC. Makes this car even more valuable. The value of this car today would be 6 million euros for the condition it's in.
So 6 million euros, that's about $6.5 million. And in terms of the investment value, this is the best car that you've shown me.
When you look at the predecessors of this car, if you look at the 250 GTO, and it's trading somewhere between 50 to 70 million euros today, this car definitely has a long way to go.
Okay, I'll take it. Definitely I'm taking this. I love the look of it, and I like the sound of that kind of appreciation.
Well, happy to do business with you.
Finally, Ali, we come to my fifth car choice for my dream garage. I've been looking at some of the luxurious cars that you got here, like that Novitec Rolls-Royce, yeah, with the widened rear wheel arches. It's nuts. And then there's that Rolls-Royce Silver Spectre, which is an estate Rolls-Royce Wraith. That's crazy as well. But do you know what? It got me thinking about like the Rolls-Royces and luxury cars, and I think what I need for the last car in my collection is something to be driven in rather than to drive myself, and we've ended up in this Maybach with a difference. What is it?
Well, this is upgraded and tuned by Mansouri. The interior has been upgraded completely by Mansouri. Mansouri make one of the finest leather interiors, and also this car has been tuned to 720 horsepower.
It is really nice, and here feels super expensive and even more luxurious than the standard Maybach, which is saying something, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, you stand out with this car, definitely. You don't see much of these around in Dubai or anywhere in the world.
What is the price of this one?
$550,000. I wouldn't say it's a one-off, it's one of a few.
All right then, Ali, that's my 5-car dream garage complete. What does the total value actually come to?
Yeah, that's just $20 million.
Whoa!
Fassi, write this down. It's Veneno, 765, 288 GTO, G63, and a Mansouri Maybach. Matt's gonna buy all of these cars.
It was just pretend.
What do you mean? You've been taking my time all this time.
I think I better get out of here. Ah! I hope you'll enjoy the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know if you agreed with my choices in the comments below. Click on those windows there for some more videos, and on that box there to go to Carway to sell your car and have dealers all across the country bid on it. Thanks for watching.